let me give you some advice as someone who's been married for 11 years now, just had our 11th year anniversary, and as someone who has 2 kids with the person I'm married to, okay? Don't put yourselves on the internet. So I got married when I was 24, okay? Which is young, but also not young in like Muslim kind of world. If you know, you know, okay? But looking back now as a 36-year-old, it's young, okay? You're not, oh, I definitely was not all complete up here, not fully developed, that's for sure. Although at the time I definitely thought I was. Excuse the stain, okay? But I still like the hoodie. From the age of like, yeah, about 19 to like 26, I would say most people are like pretty confident and think that they know everything or are really sure in themselves. And then you get to like 30-ish, or then you have some life experiences and you realize that, oh, I wasn't mature or whatever. I was just so confident and so arrogant, almost. And I feel like everyone goes through that. And it's inevitable, and you can't really avoid going through that. But, sorry, I need to check this out a second. That looks like it's gonna be a good one. One piece of advice I think every young couple should take from me. When I was younger, I thought, oh, whatever, no biggie, this is just paranoid people, blah, 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 all this stuff. But honestly, in the beginning, you're young, you're in love, you know. The main thing is you're young and you don't have as many responsibilities, okay? But marriage is it's not a game, okay? It's for life. And most of the time, as Muslims, we are getting married younger in general than other people, because obviously we don't want to get intimate before marriage. But when you start having children, or when you start having responsibilities, or if life is just throwing any sort of stresses at you, that's when like the real test kind of happens. And also, me and Sid got married. He was 27, I was 24. So he was young, but like not that young, etc., etc. So we pretty much did a lot of growing together, and we built our life together. And I think we have an advantage to that, because you know when you sort of like just go into something and build together, whereas let's say I was living on my own and then was to meet Sid, I think it would be very difficult. And this is why a lot of older women find it difficult to get married, because I think once you've created your own sort of space and your routine, and once you've developed into an older woman, like 36, I think it's difficult to let a man sort of come into that space, okay? This is advice for the guys, mainly. If you are getting married young-ish, even if you think you're not young, you are, okay? And if your fiance is a woman and she's 24, 27, 28, whatever age she is, if you guys are planning on having kids, be prepared that your wife will change. So what I'm saying is, don't get married to somebody thinking, yes, I like this person and this is how I want them to be forever. You have to get married with a very open mind and be ready to understand that people change, and women as well. When we have children, things change, okay? Our brain changes overnight, genuinely overnight. The way we think about things, the way we see the world, the things we can tolerate, or the things that we maybe put up with before that seem just like really like minor, like little jokes and stuff. When you have children, everything changes. And you have a lot of couples then that really struggle after kids because she's changed. I don't know, you're changed. Yeah, because that's what's supposed to happen. Now you need to be mature enough as a man to be mature enough and safe enough to allow your wife to feel secure and safe to be able to change and go through the motions of wherever it is that's going on in her head. because it's going to happen and it's not wrong. It happens. Ask anyone who's had children, okay? A lot of couples either make it or break it after apparently around the 7-year mark or after children. We're still together, but it has not been easy, let me tell you. There's moments where it's chilling, very easy, and there's moments where it's not. And that is the reality of marriage, okay? Take it from someone who's been sharing her whole life for the last 15 years. A lot of you guys watched me pre-marriage. You watched me get married, have kids. You saw Sid being introduced. You watched us grow. You even watched, like, a lot of you will know and see the difference to like how we think and everything. And yes, in the last, like, I think in the last 2.5 to 3 years, we both consciously started sharing less about, sharing less just like couple stuff, because it is not healthy. I don't care what couples you see on the internet, they're like amazing online. Me and Sid have these videos. At the end of the day, you are sharing what seems like harmless moments, just chat, regular interactions with your partner. You're sharing it with a lot of people, and that's attention that, even if it's good and positive attention, it's attention that you don't actually really need, and it's talk about you and you as a couple that you don't really need. And these things do create problems. There's also, I could go into this a lot, but like, there's a lot to think about. If you want any advice about internet and marriage, take it from a millennial, because we've lived through pre-internet world and post-internet, okay? Whereas a lot of young couples now, they get married, all they know is that it's normal to like kind of just share whatever on the internet. It's very normalized. And you see it with Muslim couples a lot, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like me and Sid, like I naturally introduced Sid and enjoyed making videos with him. It's normal, but I was very young. And so was he. As you get older, you just want to protect your privacy more, and you want to protect the things that are closest to you more. So like your kids, your husband, your family life, that healthy sort of family dynamic. And being on the internet and sharing so many moments that are just normal moments, like you even see it with family vloggers. I never felt like, when the kids were tiny, it was easier because they're babies and it's mainly about me as a mother. But as they get older and they have their own little personalities and all this stuff, I always had this thing, I just felt like, I just didn't want to share it, or I didn't want them to be like addressing the camera. But even though they're growing up in that era, it's like, it's difficult. Don't do couple videos, don't do all that stuff. You obviously show that you're married and like you can post whatever, but like don't make everything about marriage and you guys as a couple. It is, or don't do it a lot, don't make it the focus. It is genuinely not good for you as a married couple. I personally don't think. Nothing crazy has happened or anything. We're still together, but as we both mature and think about our family's future and like just getting older, like, we also, sorry, I'm gone off topic again. 3 years ago, as I was getting into fitness and getting my qualification and stuff, I already knew that I was growing sort of out of like my current blogging situation and working with brands in particular. Working with brands is another test for couples and families, because it's one thing just like doing family vlogs, but then if you get popular and then you have brand deals and you can make money, it's great. But unless you're very, very self-aware and have good family sort of like unit and people that can look from outside the box, it's very easy to get swept up in it and forget sort of like your priorities because of brand deals. I remember consciously thinking, I don't want to work with brands anymore. I just want to work on myself, my own brand, if I have a brand, or my own business, like I'm just doing PTing now. And if you notice, the last paid collaboration I did, I think, was a trip to Dubai with Kayak. That was the last like brand collab I did, and it was a really good one and I really enjoyed it. But from then, I've stopped doing like product collaborations. Like I will do if something really fits. I've just grown out of it. There's nothing wrong with doing brand deals, it's work. But I personally have just grown out of it. But for example, if a sports thing came in or something just like that I did already and it was very natural, then I'd do that because I'm just focusing on me and like my craft, which is a coach now. Very normal, very not glamorous, you know. Even, I've gone off topic, haven't I, guys? I was giving you advice, if you're getting married and you're young, I know it's tempting, but try not to start doing a couple channel. If you do, keep it very private, like don't share too much, and don't make it like your priority. Anyone who works with their partner, that isn't online, but if you just have ever worked with your partner, you know it's not good. At some point, it gets a bit, Me and Sid, we're both very creative, we're both very bossy, we both have our own ideas and opinions, and we work together a lot. And most of the time, we work really well together, actually. But sometimes I wanted things a certain way, but then he was doing things a certain way. He had his strength, I had my strength. So it can get, can get a bit, it's like inviting people to your relationship that you don't know, don't anything. Not to be rude to you guys or anything, but it is there. It's like I'm inviting you into my home, and if I really was inviting you physically and you're knocking on my door, I would make sure I'm dressed in something, I'd make sure I've hoovered, etc, etc. But with vlogs, we're not really doing that. I'm sounding a bit like over the top here, but I'm glad that we both consciously decided to slowly sort of stop sharing as much, and it kind of just happened naturally. You will still see him in vlogs and stuff, obviously, like I live with him, he's my husband, but it's just not a focus, I'm not into that. And I a lot of the time, if I do come across a couple video or like a couple doing a vlog and stuff, and I watch like however many minutes or whatever, I almost can read between every scene. I can almost guess exactly what's happened after that scene, or like guess if they've had to retake that or whatever. I just know. And yeah, basically do it for a bit if you want, but as soon as it starts feeling a bit But this is the thing, when you're young, you don't pick up on things because you're just young. But as you're getting older, and you're more aware of things, you just think, do you know what? Don't do that, it's not good. Anyway, that's what I want to say as well. If you do, and then you get popular, some people can handle getting popular. Some people can handle getting brand deals thrown at them. But I've seen it physically with my eyes. I'm not saying this with Sid now because we didn't get popular overnight and we didn't get brand deals chucked at us overnight. It was a grind. I remember our first job that was paid and we were like, wow! But I was doing stuff for years before that and selling scarves and so many brands, etc. So nowadays, if you get big overnight, you literally get big overnight. So some people can't handle that, and some people then don't have boundaries with the internet. And for example, TikTok is wild, man, the lives. Everyone just goes on live so casually, and I find it disturbing. Like your kids are in the back watching whatever, running around in pajamas, just living life, but you are live every night. What I'm saying is, even someone like me, if I think, oh no, I've got my head screwed on straight, I know not to do this, etc. If you're in that world, it can be easy to forget what your original boundaries were, or it can be very easy to just get sucked into that and then have a new normal, which is not actually normal, although it is, because everyone's doing it, but I don't think it's healthy. So as a millennial who's lived both lives, don't do it. Because there's a lot of kids basically growing up on the internet, consuming the internet, but also their whole lives being on the internet at any moment, because of their parents normalizing this. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, me and Sid are still together. I just don't really share. Listen, I'm not even exaggerating now. Look at this hair. God damn. I need to leave. I could share a picture right now of me and Sid and put it on Instagram, just Instagram stories. And I kid you not, within about 20 minutes, we're having a massive argument over nothing. Or something, some dilemma has happened. Nothing crazy, but like someone's had a tantrum and then it's just all, suddenly everything's just gone not peaceful at home. And it could be very minor, but I noticed this years ago, literally. And then I noticed it more the less I posted. And then if I did post, and something happened within like half an hour. And there's nothing crazy that's happened. It's small little things. But I did start noticing it because it's just too much attention. And I'm not saying like anyone's looking at pictures and being like, oh, not everything's evil eye. I don't blame everything on evil eye whatsoever. But I can accidentally give myself evil eye. I could like be wearing a new outfit and look in the mirror and be like, oh my God, oh, it looks so good. I'll walk outside and a bird chat on me. Do you know what I mean? It could be very, do you know what I mean? But basically, over time and years and build up and talk, people like on the internet like to talk and make their own stories about everything. Like you could be sharing a video and the audience will come up with their own story and be very sure of it. Be very, very sure of it. So, you know, I would say, try your best. I know it's hard, but try your best not to share too much, okay? Because that's basically what I'm doing, because I'm trying to be in marriage for the long run. When I say long run, like literally like until we die. Do you know what I mean? Never like sugarcoated anything for you guys in any of our videos, you know that. Like we've always said, marriage is difficult and it's hard work. It's literally proper hard work. Like it's not, like you really have to work at it, and it's not going to be the same as when you were younger and any of that stuff, especially if you had kids. I gotta shut up, it's 20 minutes. Who's going to edit this? It's me, it's got to be me.